Let me give you a drink. I didn't know what it was. I took a swig of that, and I
Okay, all right.
couldn't taste.
Calm your boy down there.
He said, shut up.
I'll call this October 3rd Public Service Authority meeting to order. At this time, I'd ask Mr. McCoffey to lead us in the invocation pledge.
It's all right. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this beautiful weather that you've provided for us, Lord, and thank you for the rain that we got this weekend. Lord, we ask you to watch over us, bless us, and keep us safe. Let us conduct this meeting in peace and harmony, Lord, and just ask you to watch over everyone as we go home on our appointed ways. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. At this time on the agenda is citizens' time, and we have nobody that wishes to speak during citizens' time, so we'll move on with the approval of the consent agenda. Ask the board if they would want to do a motion to include sections A, B, and C, or if they want to break them out separately.
So move on A, B, and C.
All right. I have a motion to approve sections A, B, and C. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Are there any discussion? All right. Hearing none, I'll start the vote. Mr. Jessup?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. McCraw?
Yes.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next on the agenda is new business. And I think I need to have a motion to amend the agenda to add the public meeting for the 221 water project under new business. Do I have that motion?
So move.
All right. I have a motion to have a second.
Second.
All right. Are there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll start the vote. Mr. Jessup?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. McCraw?
Yes.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So at this time, I'll ask Mike or Dana if they will enlighten the PSA board on the public meeting and any other new business.
I guess what we're doing is looking at having a public informational meeting.
Okay.
I don't know if it's really considered it's not like a public hearing, but to schedule a public information meeting. Some of the questions that, as we're going through this and generating a list is, I guess we need to ask the board, are we looking at double cabin or just Floyd Pike? Or while we're having this meeting, do we want to go ahead and enter those areas in there? Maybe have
Is this the meeting that's gonna be at Doug Spur?
Mm-hmm.
at the community center, yes.
Okay.
And we're trying to schedule it for a Tuesday or Thursday.
Okay.
We'll send letters out to all the individuals through that area. But are we looking at just Floyd's Pike, or are we looking trying to look at double cabin like it was once before?
I think both of them need to be looked at.
I think the loop needs to be tied together and get it over
Look
with.
at both.
Okay, and as we're doing this, do we want to look at trying to include the connection fees within the application, or will there be fees charged as we hook people up? Or a lot of times you include them in, but the counties ended up paying them within their match. Yeah.
Explain that a little better.
The user agreement has a blank. You know, if we sign folks up that night with user agreements that we use when a project goes through, there is a blank there to include the connection fee. And, you know, it's always good going into the meeting if we know where we stand on that. So that's going to be one of the questions everyone will ask, and they're not going to want to sign it with a blank there. And, you know, our connection fee right now is $3,000.
Which I'd like to lower.
But
Well, we eliminated that for those specific projects and require mandatory. Everybody has to sign. Otherwise, it ain't gonna pay for itself.
right, but we still have to have that's another thing we need to decide if that area is going to be mandatory. you know, we have the grandfathered in that's not, and then when the new ones are, we'll need to know before we have the meeting if it needs to be, or if we're going to have mandatory, the $6 fee, and what the connection fee is going to be. And the only one in the past that has paid it was Cliffview. Of course, we haven't done a project in many years, and they paid the $750, and then we let them make payments on the availability fee. As once they found out the project was going to make, then they could start making payments, installments on their connection fee. I don't know, do you remember that, Rex, when we did that? But we, once we found out we was going to receive the funding, then they could start paying on it, so they didn't have to pay it all at one time.
You're looking at about 136 136 addresses on Floyd Pike and about another 90 on Double Cabin.
So that's coming from Allison Church to elementary school,
Mm-hmm.
That'd be the complete loop.
Yep.
completely.
Yep, Double Cabin all the way back to
To the
HEB.
Deli Mart, back up.
It's between 14 to 15 miles.
Does any of the grants, if we get grants, does any of that help pay, offset the connection fees or connection?
You could probably include it in your grant, but that would be it. We're going to have a match. You're going to end up 20-30% match on any money that you receive, even if it's loaned. 20% match on the loan. You could possibly include that in your part of the match. It just increases your project cost.
Preference is try to make it as inexpensive as possible for that project. If you gotta, if you gotta carry it on for a year, part of, once the project's done, once the water's hooked up, like we did, well, we only charged $500.
That's what it was at the time.
Yeah.
Uh,
I suppose we could make it for that for the project. I don't know, I'm just throwing this out.
Well, on the connection fees, once we use up all our grant money, then we're going to evaluate the cost to see if there's some way we can do some type of savings.
Yeah, but they'll need to know up front, won't
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at, if you continue to use contractors to do the work, you're at least $2,000, just because the cost of what it takes to do it. I mean, that would be our cost. By the time you pay a contractor to do it and you buy the materials, you're $2,000, $2,200. Do them in-house, you can save a lot more, but I mean, you could, if we were doing them in-house, you could knock it down to $1,000 a piece probably.
How many miles did you say that was of road?
You look about 8 miles on Floyd and about 6.8 on Double Cabin, I think is what I got. Somewhere right around. That's just rough.
Just
I think we'll have to include the connection fee, then we'll need to see if we can lower the connection fee and see how much interest we get.
Yeah, they need water,
How
but
many
they
people
don't
are
need
interested in
to
signing up?
be broke at the same time.
So when we
Understand
have
how
the
that
meeting,
discussion
we will
doesn't
have the
involve
user
matching.
agreement stating that the connection fee is going to be $3,000.
Or waived.
Are
Are you going to include it in the grant, or are we wanting to?
Well, if we don't have them to sign user agreements, we don't have to do anything, but I don't think you're going to know how serious folks are unless you do have them sign a user agreement. That's how we've always done it. Don't mean we have to do it that way, but we could just have them sign.
What do you think,
that
Tracy?
we're interested.
I have houses and I'm staying out of this discussion on that route.
I think you need to be in this discussion.
Well, no.
Well, the only reason I
It
asked you, is
involves
you,
me and my family.
but you know the community a lot
Right.
better than the rest of us, also.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's like anything, I mean, I wouldn't speak on it as behalf of knowing the community and my family involved. I would step it over as I do with the way we do in the gas industry.
Right.
And if I run a system, they're going to sign up. I'm going to know who's going to get it before I go.
Right.
You know, and it's the only way you can.
I mean, and I don't think that it needs to be a free connection by no means. And
Oh, no.
but I know we need to figure out how to do it
That
and do
would
it
be
the most
fair.
Before we
affordable.
step into
I
that.
would
That's
like,
exactly right.
and not just this project, but any project. And Dana was on a lot of them, and I know about a lot of them that were done. I liked the way it was done a lot out Hebron, where the local community done a lot of the stuff too
They
to help
did.
with the cost.
You're talking about out Pridemore and
Mhm.
yeah,
They put them in themselves.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You can get backhoe, I'll dig it in my house.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that I think needs to be looked at in this too, to make it more feasible for the
Especially off.
taxpaying citizens of the county.
Oh, and that's the way I feel about it. But I know that we can't go out here and do it as a free hookup. I mean, I know that that's something that's just not
No.
feasible.
No, absolutely not.
But I totally agree with Dana. We got to know if they're committed or not committed.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
need
we
to-
don't want to say one thing
Yeah.
and then go back and
Right.
say something.
I think that has been some problems in the past.
But I think a project that big also is going to take time, so it don't have to be paid all up front. It could be in stages.
Yes,
you
yes.
know,
Yeah, that,
committed to 25%, and then when the project starts, get it to 50, and then whenever it's done, you got to have 100% paid. Or,
I'll make a motion that we set it at 1,000, as long as it's under the project. Now, if they don't sign up then, it's gonna be 3,000 down the road. That would, to me, that would encourage them to sign up.
all right, have a motion.
On any project that we have, that's what my motion would be.
Okay. Have a motion to have a second.
I'll second it.
Are there any further discussion?
Yeah, read that motion here. You read it.
me read it. Well, sorry, Mr. Hill has made a motion that for the project, it'd be $1,000 connection fee, and that's what will be on the user agreement. If they sign up initially before the project is completed. After the project is completed, it will be whatever our connection fee is at that time.
Any further discussion?
If we're gonna go to 1,000 on this, does it mean all hookups from here on through the county will be? No, just be for this project?
Yeah, because
During
it's
this
a project, and I think that Mr. Hill's motion based it on that project, and then
Maybe
if
we
anybody
should
done it later on, it would be the same as what they're paying now.
say new construction projects.
Yes.
New construction project.
And then hopefully we can reevaluate our rates after we get done with these connections that were part of the grant program and go from there with maybe doing what we need to do on it.
Now, the business, is that gonna be the same price?
On which ones?
Like
Businesses.
Duxbury Deli, for instance, they gonna be the same price as a resident?
Generally, that's how we do it, I believe.
That's how we do it. Unless, and if they wanted a larger meter, but I don't know why they would need anything larger.
And that, other than the church and one little tire shop, they ain't but two other businesses, pretty much. They ain't much.
Okay.
Any more discussion? I'll start the vote. Mr. Jessup,
Yes,
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. McCraw,
Yes.
Mr. Dixon,
Yes.
and I abstain. All right, next,
On the same subject, if we can, are we going to look at a mandatory fee for the ones that don't get a meter? We charge one now. I think it's $6.
Well, I think a new project, I've been on both sides of this fence. And my opinion, it should be mandatory. When we come through there and put a water system in, you hook up. I mean, everybody that has a house, it should be mandatory. Otherwise, we can't afford to do a project. That's my opinion.
do you need that in the form of a motion as well?
So any person that doesn't pay the connection fee will be charged a mandatory fee of the $6 or whatever it said at the time.
Well, I just think we make it mandatory. We'll have to change our regulation. We make it, anytime we do a project, it's mandatory you hook up.
how we been doing?
I mean, most all, we're one of the few that does not make it mandatory. Projects. 'Cause, I mean, everybody, you know, pitch would be mandatory. Everybody, you know, hook up. I mean, everybody.
Do you need that in the form of a motion as well?
Everybody. 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 Everyb Right now, they're paying what, $6?
Like $6.
Yeah, see, that's not even. And there's other things you can do to require others, but I mean, if it comes through, you want them to sign up. Just, I mean, that number of people, you almost have to have all of them sign up.
Just about.
So you pay $6 if you hook up or not.
No, you pay the full fee, just like you use whatever monthly fee it would be if you use the minimum
The
amount.
$20.79.
Yep.
But we would need to change our rules and regs to do that.
Because right now we don't. I think at one time it was like that we were charging, no matter if you had service or not. But I think when, a few years ago or something, it was changed from the 2070 down to the
Fee,
$6.
We didn't have mandatory hookup. I mean, when we come through the water line, you can require that they hook up to it. We've not done that, but if you're gonna do a project, you're gonna have to pay for it. Maybe if they make it mandatory to hook up. You don't
Nope.
have to use it, you can still use the well water, but it's mandatory, you have to pay the fee, just like everybody else.
You
And
mean mandatory that they set the meter and
Yeah.
whether they use it or not?
Yep, so they can do what they want out of that.
Now, we do charge, if there's a meter on at the place, we charge the minimum fee,
Right.
Yep.
even if they use it or not.
That's what I want.
Well, this is one of the things that I don't like on that though, is I think we should, is there any way we can come off the main with just a line and a cutoff valve and not set a meter?
That's what I think do you do that now?
They either have a meter or they don't.
Well, that needs to be done and just have a cutoff valve there and save, look at the savings the county would save on meter in the ground for nothing, for $6.
They have to have a cutoff valve to change their meter, so they gotta be a cutoff valve already.
Yeah, but not setting no meter, because I mean,
Yeah.
you're just adding another $1,000 and at $6, you're never gonna get that back.
And that is very much looking forward to something coming down the road. I mean, if it's an address there should be at least a cutoff valve put there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, anywhere that they could put it
Mm.
off, but all I'm saying is I don't see, just like Rex's point, you're gonna charge $6 for, and then the other people are gonna pay 1,000, and we shouldn't set that meter till that $1,000 paid. We should just have a cutoff valve, because it's costing what, $1,200-1,500 to set a meter.
Well, if you do it during the project, you'll find out, you'll put it in through the project. The only thing is if you put that line out and you run it up like you normally would, then you're gonna have to put a tap and saddle on the water line as you're going through. And then you're gonna have, it's gonna be water in it until you, so.
Well, if you put the saddle and line on it, don't tap
And then you just have to dig it up and re-tap it.
it, just tap it.
Uh,
Put a saddle on the plug.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
So,
you could
where
actually
you don't
go.
have a chance of the valve messing up and you got water blowing. I
Yeah.
get that part of it, but
I mean, if you're gonna, it's just my opinion, if you were going to pay for it through a grant, then you run it all in there and just don't set a meter.
okay.
Just don't put a meter on the inside, you still have a cutoff, you have a saddle in there, and then you'll have the box itself.
That's what I was going to say. Set a meter box.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way it gets you cut off underground, so it can't be mowed over or whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
What do you think the project would cost?
I'd hate to know.
Well, that's what, that's why I'm looking at mandatory. If it's gonna be $5 million,
Probably more.
10 million.
I mean, you're looking
So we'll
at
have to figure, we gotta get it. It's gotta be paid for within 20 years,
90 feet,
or I'm not voting.
90,000 feet.
90,000 feet.
But you might find as we have a meeting that maybe Double Cabin's not interested, but 221 is, then do you just do a part of a project, or if Double Cabin has more interest than 221 does, do you extend Double Cabin?
I just don't like dead ending it
Yeah.
Have a loop.
if you're gonna do it.
I think it'd be a lot smarter to have a loop if at all possible.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I know what happens on the dead ends.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, you're looking.
Mr. Wadden, you can't tell us how much foot it's gonna be.
I wouldn't guess right now. I mean, you're looking at, 2 or 3 years from now,
90,000 feet.
once all the projects that this money is going through, all the other projects that you see, price might come down, but
Okay.
everything's climbing right now. So, it's just, you're, I guess, around 8 million, 8.5. You get 20% of it. You get, you might get 60% grant, 40% loan maybe or something. Depends on the grant application. What do you think?
Okay.
Do you need anything else in the motion, Mr. Watson? All right. Move on to project update, exit 1.
Okay, I'm sorry. One more thing. We talked about doing it on a Tuesday or Thursday. Is there a specific? Did you want to wait until? I was thinking the first or second week of November. Gives us time enough to mail those out.
Would need to be the week after election because that'll be a Tuesday election day.
Oh, okay.
So the third week in November.
Second week. Yeah, third, whatever.
And their
the day
meeting's
is.
on the third, too, I think.
When did they have their meal out there, Tracy? Do you know? At the
It'd be a Saturday.
okay.
Probably be the 19th. 7, 8. What about the 15th or the 17th? 15th?
15.
November 15th.
What time do y'all think's best to start?
6:30 for something like that, I would say.
You're gonna send out something to remind us.
I'll have to look on that date.
Because all that in your district, Tracy, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Do what?
We might have to send out an email because I'm scheduled to go to VACO, and I think that VACO meeting might be the third one. So we might be able to do it the week before the election.
Okay.
What would the date be on that, Mark?
I think it's the first. Let me look. Tuesday, the November the 1st or the 10th would probably be fine. Either which one of those days would work pretty good. 7th is election day, and I think I'm gone through the Wednesday, the 16th, so I wouldn't.
Let's do it on the 1st.
All right.
Well, it'll be before daylight savings time ends and it gets dark early.
I'd be
All right.
far enough away from me and being grandma again. I might not be gone for a day.
Need to make sure the building's not busy.
I will.
Yeah.
Check this evening. I'll let you know tomorrow night. So November 1st at 6:30. Does that sound right?
Does that work for you?
Yes, sir.
Is that good? All right. We'll move on to the project updates.
First one we have is exit 1, the Cana Water System in connection. I sent out a letter. We received notice that we did not receive a funding offer on this, and we'll continue to look at it. However, this round of funding is not going to be, we're not going to receive funding for it. I have reached out to the Virginia Department of Health in order to get some criteria, some way that we can make our application better, find out how we lacked on funding. I think in the letter it said there was about $877 million worth of project and nowhere near that amount of funding available. So, but once I find out some more information, we'll let you know. Exit 1, regional wastewater project. We're still waiting on DEQ to make a decision. We haven't received any notice or any information regarding that. In your package, you have some general PSA updates, some of the things that we've worked on. Exit 1, we received a quote from AEP today on three-phase. One of the things we're looking at is the three-phase service, which was, to get the service itself was fairly cheap. We're looking at the cost estimates in order to convert the power of the three-phase, the grinder pump, and those type things. The goal is to pay for this through Mount Rogers regional planning grant it's a regional grant that they have where they have money that's passed down through the state, and it'll pay 100% with no match. One of the reasons why that we're trying to move forward with this is we've got this week to put a response in of what we're doing to try to fix some of the problems there. We're probably looking at some type of consent order as we move forward. So we're trying to get ahead of the game and put a plan together.
Do we have a generator there?
Yes. I think they had to run it this weekend.
Yeah.
Will it do three-phase rubber?
No, it won't. The one we have.
No,
won't.
they'll have to have a new one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that might be
Sorry,
something included in it.
Listen,
Pay attention. Please.
I'm glad you mentioned that. That might be something we put into the grant application.
it definitely needs to be.
Mhm.
A new 400-watt generator or 400 kilowatt is $120,000 roughly,
Wow.
60-week lead time.
$120,000.
Of course, I don't think you wouldn't have to have that big for down there. It probably need about, I think this one over here at the foot of Fattest Hills, 80 or 100. I can't remember what size it is. But
We'll get some prices.
availability of equipment is just
Mhm.
the thing that bothers me about doing this.
The AEP come in, it was $663.
Yeah, it would. They won't go up much because they're going to get a power increase. They
Yeah.
know that. They
Yeah,
get a price
that's what they're
increase.
banking on.
Yeah.
You know.
But the extended lead times on equipment is going to push us out for a good while. That's why I wish we knew more about the regional than.
Yes.
So.
The only problem with the regional, if we get it approved, it's going to be 2-3
Yeah.
years before it gets into place. And
Right.
all right, search grant, we're still waiting on the information along with SCADA. Hillsville Sewer, they did they did fix one of the leaks, found another one. They plan on working on it next week, I think is what it is.
Where's it at?
It's on up closer. It's from where they found this one at, up closer, still on the right of way there.
We gotta have a crash truck again.
Mhm.
We were very fortunate. The town did most of the work and had a person licensed to do the VDOT work, so we didn't have to pay for the truck or the setup. So it
That's
worked out.
one thing I was gonna tell you too, Dana, that, well, I'll save it for board member comments, but go ahead.
Water sewer grants, we're still moving forward. We're going to ask for some additional ones. We sent out some to the contractors, and so hopefully we get some of those done. I think Blueberry, if I'm not mistaken, they have two left to do. So getting
No
closer there.
No problems so far. Property owner or anything, everything's fine.
Yeah, they're good. They'll get their first bill next month.
I haven't really seen that many complaints, I don't
We
think.
waited till we're waiting till all of them get a meter before we change the rate.
Sometimes you just got to be thankful for the past.
And that's about it I have.
All right. Anything under old business? All right. Authority members' time next. I'll start with Mr. Jessup.
I really don't have anything other than thank all the employees and everybody for everything they're doing. That's all I got, really.
Okay. Mr. Hill.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Mr. McCraw.
Other than thanking the employees for what they've done and for getting the fire hydrant fixed at the foot of Tower Road.
Mm-hmm.
We
That
can
all?
get more parts.
Mr. Dixon.
I just thank the employees for everything they're doing and I appreciate it. That's all I have.
All right. I do have a couple things. One, I think the 4 o'clock meeting is pretty hard for Mr. Collins to be able to make. Is the board interested in possibly changing that, or I know he's looking for another member to possibly serve for him.
We gonna crowd our, we gonna,
Are we going
To
to crowd
me,
our time with?
Yeah, to me, it's just like, it'd be hard to push anything by.
Yeah, I don't.
Throw it out there to the board to think about anyway. So, and see, we might can speak with him this evening. If we've done 4:30, we possibly, most meetings could get things done in that half hour, couldn't we, Mr. Watson?
Be tough on some of them, but
Well, he ought to be able to find somebody down there to serve on the board.
Okay. He reached out to me today, and I just told him I'd mention it to the authority member. And
how would it work if we moved to a different day? I know that
It makes it difficult.
It
yeah,
does for me because I take off work,
Yeah,
3 meetings on.
I try to do all mine at one time too.
maybe it's something we can discuss in the next meeting, and then we'll get with Mr. Jessup and let you know what.
Do what?
I said it may be something that we'll talk to Mr. Collins about when we see him here in a little while, and then we'll get with you and let you know what, if anything changes or where it's at, okay?
Okay.
And as far as Dana bringing up the, Mike and Dana bringing up the flagging and stuff, I did want to mention that, and not something mandatory by no means or whatnot, but just letting you know, I know when I worked at the PSA in the past, we had a guy come in and do the flagging standards things. But Lutteral down here at the red light below Burger King, they offer a 1-day class
Oh,
down
do
there
they?
too as well.
I had been talking to someone out of Christiansburg
Mm-hmm.
because he was going to set up a class, but I didn't know that they did.
I just want to let you know that Lutteral does.
Okay.
I thought about that last week when I drove by there and we had the crash truck and stuff.
Yep.
So I did want to make a mention to that.
I'll call them and
Yeah, you can
do
send
it.
a couple, 3, whatever,
Yeah.
you feel like we would need, and it might not be something that they'd use all the time, but it'd be good to have somebody that when they are out on a leak or something would know. So just for safety measures. So other than that, I don't have nothing. I thank Mike and Dana and Debbie and all the staff and the guys out in the field that keep the water and the sewer flowing.
I got one more thing, Tracy.
All right.
What'd y'all do on our air compressor?
still waiting on one. That one is for sale that we talked about at one meeting. There's 2 of them sitting there that's for sale. But but they keep moving the date. It's going through Iron Planet. It's an auction thing online, and I think it's due October the 13th. There's some more coming up for auction on I think October the 6th in different areas. I did bid on one online in Ohio, but it went for 12.5 before, till I stopped and then sold. So we're still trying to look for them. It's just hard to find one with less than 2,000 hours. Somewhere around 1,000 hours or something. They run anywhere from. You can buy them from. They're about almost 30 grand a piece. You get about 24,000 to 30,000 for a small one new. So I'm hoping to find one a little less.
Okay. That's all I got.
All right. I know that the next Board of Supervisors meeting is November 7th. Is that when the PSA meeting is scheduled as well then? Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All right, have a motion to have a second.
Second.
All right. I'll start the vote. Mr. Jessup,
Yeah.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. McCraw,
Yes.
Mr. Dixon,
Yes.
and I vote yes.